Hello everyone and welcome back to F1 23. It's been a while since we've jumped into this game, but today we are back and ready to get cracking with an F2 season. As you can see on screen, we're going to be driving as Jack Doohan. This is the 2022 F2 season. The 2023 cars are yet to make their way into the game, but that works out fine because I actually missed doing the 2022 season in the previous game in F1 22. We'll be, in a way, kind of going back and doing that in F1 23. But anyway, as I mentioned, we're going to be driving as Jack Doohan, the Alpine Junior in UNI Virtuosi. So, with our choice made, I think it's time we see who we are up against. Alrighty, so let's start with Dennis Hauger, the Norwegian driver driving car number 1. For Prema Racing, Red Bull Junior, and alongside him another Red Bull Junior, Car 2, Jayan Deruvala from India, and those two will be very quick. Prema are always a very solid team in Formula 2. And then of course we have myself, Jack Doohan, Car 3, UNI Virtuosi. Our teammate will be Marino Sato, a driver we've teamed up with before in Formula 1 for half a season, alongside us in the garages will be Carlin, and they have got Liam Lawson in car 5, another Red Bull Junior, the Kiwi, and then the American Logan Sargent in car 6. Next up will be High Tech. They've got Marcus Armstrong in car 7, another Kiwi driver who is very, very quick, and alongside him the Estonian Yuri Vips. So that is another very solid driver lineup. Constructors Championship wise. Next up we have ART, another team that has taken several drivers to titles. Car 9 is the Dane Frederick Vesti, alongside him in car 10 Théo Pourchaire, the Frenchman, looking to go all the way to the title this year. At MP Motorsport, car 11 the Brazilian Felipe Drugovich, and then car 12 Clement Novalak, the Frenchman, moving up to Formula 2 after finishing 3rd in the championship in Formula 3. Next up is Campos. Skipping over number 13, we have 14 Ollie Caldwell, and alongside him Ralph Boschung, the Brit and the Swiss drivers at that team, and they will be looking to grab some good results as well. Next up, Dams, we have Roy Nassani, the Israeli driver, and alongside him Ayumu Iwasa, the Japanese Red Bull Junior, and he is also moving up this year to Formula 2. Then we have Trident, and at Trident we have both Callan Williams, the Australian, and Richard Verschoor, the Dutchman, looking to bring some form to a team that has had an up and down time in Formula 2 so far. Next up is Charouz, and we have Enzo Fittipaldi driving for them, alongside the only woman in the field, Tatiana Calderon, and we'll see how they go with that driver lineup. And finally we have Van Amersfoort, the newest team on the grid, and they have got Jake Hughes driving for them, alongside Amaury Cordial, the Belgian driver, making his way up to Formula 2 this year. He didn't have the best of times in Formula 3, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes. Jake Hughes, though, very underrated driver, so excited to see what he can do. But with that said, let's get into the first race weekend. We have a lot of settings to go through here, but first, the season. We're going to be doing the full 2022 season, all 14 races of it. So it's going to be, or 14 rounds, that's 28 races in the season. So it's going to be a long one, starting off in Bahrain. We then move to Abu Dhabi, then to Imola, which is going to be interesting. We then go on to Spain, Monaco, Azerbaijan, the UK, and then off to Austria, France, Hungary, Belgium, the Netherlands, and then finish off the season at Monza, and then to Abu Dhabi. So a lot of great tracks there. Some I'm feeling a little bit iffy about. Imola's going to be a bit scary. It's never been my track, but we're doing the real life season, So, you know, there's no choice there. As for our driver, as I mentioned, we are going to be racing as Jack Doohan. I did consider a few others while making this decision. I thought about Tatiana Calderon, but we've already done that back in F1 2019, I believe it was. So yeah, I decided to go with Jack Doohan. I also thought about Ralph Boschung as well, but maybe next time. He's not going anywhere. He's probably going to be racing in F2 for the next 100 years or so. He's a very good driver on his day when the car is right. But anyway, after spending a long time setting up all of these settings, we get ready to go for the first for the first practice session. Really, it's been a long time since I've driven an F2 car in any sort of proper context. They did appear throughout the braking points, but only in very limited amounts. So yeah, this is going to take some readjustment. I actually haven't played the F1 game for a long time, so yeah, this is going to be a very important
a few laps under our belt.
Practice session, just to get back up to speed with the game. I've been playing Gran Turismo a lot recently, and the difference in it's hard to describe, but you know, the skills of you get from Gran Turismo don't really translate that well into the F1 game. The kind of feedback you get from the controller is very different. It almost felt like I was like a ghost driving the car when I first started. You don't get anywhere near the kind of vibrations through the controller that you do in Gran Turismo. It's quite weird to be getting back into this. So it took me a while to sort of readjust to you know, how the F1 game feels. But you know, after a few laps in practice, I did eventually get up to speed. So yeah, that wasn't too bad in the end. But yeah, it just took a little bit of readjustment time, and yeah, once I got a few laps in, we were feeling much better. But I would say I didn't really get into a proper, you know, rhythm until, you know, late in the races. Being able to say this in retrospect, probably should have done more practice, but I just wanted to get on with it, to be honest. So yeah, there's a bit of that, but anyway, yeah, there was a few little learning experiences once again to readjust to the game. But anyway, we'll move on now to the end of practice.
An interesting practice session there then. Let's remind ourselves of the top three, which are Vips, Drugovic, Frederick Vesti. Thank you for joining us for free practice today. We'll be back with more Formula 2 action very shortly. And
it wasn't a great showing in practice for us, really. Yeah, we were, I think, down in 15th, not on the screen at the moment. So yeah, it was a pretty average session, but I know, you know, throughout qualifying and the two races in the weekend, I will improve, and you know, there will be some down in 16th. There we go, with our teammate in 18th. So yeah, it's not been a great start to the weekend for the team, but qualifying is where the weekend really starts. Points are paid for pole position, of course, in F2, so we'll see what we can do. Alrighty, so here we go then for our qualifying lap, and we really only get one shot at it, with only one set of the soft compound tyres available for qualifying. It's basically a one-shot format. You can go again on a second run, but usually by that time the tyres are done. But thankfully for us, the confidence is much higher on these soft compound tyres as it was in the practice where we use the hards. So that immediately is going to translate into a better lap time, not just for the softer compound, but just feeling much better on these tyres. A little bit of a concern though for the sprint race when we'll use only the hard tyres, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. For now though, we're pulling this lap together pretty well so far. We've had a few little wobbles on corner exits where we're sort of struggling to put the power down, but overall we're going along alright. We're going to stay on board for the entire lap as we now round the left-hander. The right-hander here can be a pretty sketchy corner. We don't want to touch that inside curb, but we get away with it and flow the car through there nicely enough. Now out onto the straight and towards the last couple of corners and into the final braking zone. It's been an alright lap. We were a bit early on the brakes there, so still some learning to do. But this lap has come together well enough, and we'll see what kind of lap time it provides as we come across the line. Here we go fastest. We'll see if that stays.
The grid is all set for the race tomorrow, but before we go, let's quickly remind ourselves of our top 3, which are Dewan, Awassa, Amory, Cordial. It's time to leave for now, but we'll be back tomorrow when the feature race gets itself underway.
Alrighty, well, that is pole position for us, and by a second and a half. I don't have an explanation for that. Amory Cordial P3. Goodness me. Tatiana Calderon just misses out on the top 10 and the reverse grid. The top 10 get inverted, so Logan Sargent and Teo Porcher will be on the reverse grid front row. But anyway, yeah, I don't know what happened there. I didn't adjust the difficulty between practice and qualifying. We improved a lot. I didn't think it was by that much, but we'll be back on the hards for the sprint race, so we'll see how it goes.
Welcome to Sakir and the Bahrain International Circuit, where the grid is forming up ready for today's race. Bahrain represents an exceptional 3.36 miles of racing. Lots of opportunities to overtake throughout its 15 corners. Now, this track has built a reputation for being brutal on the rear tyres, so keep an eye on how these young drivers manage their rubber. Strategy here could ultimately determine the winner of the race. Davide, you're a 3-time winner around here in 1 week, I believe, back in 2012. How on earth do you make the tyres last around this track? They degrade so quickly.
To be honest, the key to the race is having a good start so you can get your car into a good position. Then save the tires as much as you can and push just at the end.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Alrighty then, so here we are on the grid for the sprint race here in Bahrain. The weather forecast is nighttime, which is fantastic. Interestingly, the strategy options we were given are both pit stop strategies, soft to soft or soft to hards. Everyone else starting on the hards and doing the regular sprint race strategy, which is just a no stop on the hard tyres. The pit stop strategy has been successful in the past. We've seen it in real life. Luca Giotto, 2018, or 2019 rather, getting that race win in the Bahrain sprint race, making a pit stop, but I don't think we are going to do it this time.
Superb parking there, mate. Let's make sure we get the edge on the surrounding drivers as the lights go out.
So we're going to start on the hard compound tyres.
The start sequence will begin as soon as the grid is formed.
Just like most of the other drivers in the field. The only exception is Rowan Asani, starting on the softs from 22nd on the grid. We go to the 5 red lights, and it's lights out, and away we go for the sprint race in Bahrain. It's a great start. It's a rocket ship start as we head down the middle, and we are making places. JQ's there, moving to the left a little bit in front of us, but we still get past. We're down the inside of Liam Lawson. We're battling away now for second position from 10th on the grid. What a launch, as we do lose out to Liam Lawson, so we're down to 3rd. But that was the best start I have ever had in any of these careers ever. No way did we just make up 7 places into the first corner. That is just insane. I am in disbelief about just how rapidly this car launched off the line. That was unbelievable. Just insane. But, of course, the start is only the first part of the race. We need to be able to keep up this momentum. Looks okay so far. We're keeping pace with Liam Lawson in front. Logan Sargent holds the race lead. Terry Portier lost out on that start.
Everything's looking good.
He was on the front row, dropped behind Liam Lawson. So he'll be a little disappointed by that. But we'll see how we go as we continue to push on. Liam Lawson in front of us. We lose a little bit of time through there, just getting the line a bit wrong, but we'll try and just keep the consistency. That's a mistake there, and that's going to drop us out of any form of slipstream range from Liam Lawson. DRS not yet enabled, so that's not a huge concern right now. Liam Lawson looks like he's starting to put the pressure on Logan Sargent, so we'll see how that little battle plays out. But Logan Sargent leads the first lap of the season, and he's off to a perfect start. We'll see if we can do anything about Liam Lawson here. We're late on the brakes, having a little peek to the inside late there, as he was a bit held up in the braking zone by Logan Sargent. And we had a brief look at Lawson there. Well, we weren't able to do anything, but now we've disturbed the momentum of the Red Bull Junior, and we'll have another opportunity down the inside into turn 4, side by side, wheel to wheel, close to contact there. Lawson gives us the room, and we're still going to keep this fight going. We've got it done now though, and we move ourselves up into second position. Lost a bit of time to Sargent in all that, but we should be able to catch up pretty soon. Looks like our pace is quite good at the start of this race, so that is exactly the start we needed after getting dropped down to 10th with the reverse grid. Meanwhile, Roy Nassani, I mentioned he started on the soft compound tyres, and he's up to P15, so Roy Nassani has made a very, very good start to this race as we start to check out some replays of the start and the events of a lap 1, and you can see there a glimpse of our car and just how quickly we accelerated. The 0 to 100 for us will be far better than anyone else on the grid, and I actually made a bit of a mistake there. I opened the not opened the steering. I tried to open up the radius of turn 2 to try and get a good run onto the straight, and while that did help to defend from the two behind, which we'll see shortly, we're on board with Callan Williams, who started 3rd on the grid, our fellow Australian, and yeah, it sort of briefly worked, but yeah, we sort of lost touch with Lawson. We lost a lot of time doing that big swing out to the right there, so yeah, that didn't quite work out for us. Callan Williams got a great exit there and ducked into the slipstream of I believe that is Teo Porcher, but he is now battling away side by side. That's Jake Hughes on the left, and he loses out to the Van Amersfoort driver. We now go on board with Jake Hughes, who I just mentioned there, and he's the driver we just made a slight bit of contact with as we drew alongside, and it was a bit difficult to see from that angle, but he has just got a bit tangled up with Teo Porcher. He jinked to the left right as we were coming past, and we're briefly 3 wide there with Hughes and Porcher coming through turn 2, and we all managed to get away with it. Now he's on the outside looking to get around the outside of Teo Porcher, ends up running side by side with Callan Williams, but Jake Hughes, as I mentioned, able to hold on to that position. We look on board now with Liam Lawson, because he also had a very, very good start, and yeah, Callan Williams struggling to get away there. Logan Sargent, a great start as well, and Liam Lawson, or both of the Carlins, skipping away into 1st and 2nd place for Sargent and Lawson, who had to give us a bit of room on the inside, but then you can see as we look rearward, the 3 wide battle there, which spoiled any chance of us getting a run on the 2 drives ahead. On board with our teammate, let's see what kind of start he managed to get. Fairly average off the line, not particularly good or bad, but he makes the move to the inside as everyone condenses into the first corner, and a bit of a 3-wide moment there for our teammate as well, but he manages to hold off those positions, and he's not too far away from the points in this race if he can move a few spots further forward. Here's the launch for Roy Nassani on the soft compound tyres. You can see the difference it makes. He had a very solid start as well, and a nice move down the inside to gain a whole bunch of places. So all of those places he gained were all actually on the run to the first corner. It was a very, very good start to the race for Roy Nassani. And now he is on the back of one of the, I believe that's the high-tech of Yuri Vips. He's trying to make the move around the outside of the Estonian driver, and he might just get the move done here. Not quite. Yuri Vips actually goes full send down the inside of Felipe Dragovic, and now those two are running side by side. Dragovic giving Vips the room on the outside. Vips still looking to try and make the move down the inside. He can't quite get there. Nassani trying to pull it all the way around the outside of Yuri Vips, and with a tyre grip he's got the move done. He's actually got a small run on Felipe Dragovic, not enough to make the move, but Roy Nassani has pace at this phase of the race. We'll see if he's able to do anything more with it, but that was a perfect start for Roy Nassani, fighting through and also gaining 7 places, I believe. So yeah, that is a great start for him. Meanwhile, we begin to scrap away with Logan Sargent in the race lead, so we'll see if we can get the move done on him anytime soon. DRS now for us. Bit of a wobbly exit, but with the DRS and slipstream we're close, and we go for the lunge down the inside. A bit late there, but we get the move done on Logan Sargent, and that's the race lead now for us, as Sargent's still there on the left hand side as we're going to run now side by side through the flowing section of the circuit. But we get the move done. A bit wide there, but we're already clear of Logan Sargent and up into first place now, and he can resume the battle he briefly started with Liam Lawson, who was catching him before we disrupted the pair of them. But anyways, we continue on. That is a slide through the left-hander, and that's a part of the circuit where I've probably struggled the most. And we're now going to see that little moment on replay. Whoa! Anyway, we held on to it, and yeah, we push on. But yeah, that is a little awkward moment there for us. Meanwhile, on board with Roy Nassani, and we've got a battle playing out in front. That's Felipe Dragovic getting past Tatiana Calderon, who, remember, qualified P11. She doesn't seem to have the race pace though. And now Felipe Dragovic up ahead, able to make his way through. Roy Nassani briefly looked to the outside. In the end, decided not to go for that move, and his progress has really stalled, and those soft tyres just aren't giving him enough of a grip advantage to make his way through this DRS train effectively, and it's been difficult for him to make much progress, but he does make the move on Calderon, and I think that puts him up into 14th position for Roy Nassani. So yeah, it's not quite working for him. He's just not quite getting enough grip out of those soft compound tyres. Meanwhile, Liam Lawson goes for the move down the inside of Logan Sargent, and he should be able to get this one done. They're still side by side through turn 2, but Lawson makes the move stick and moves himself up into 2nd position. So it's been a good race from Lawson, and he's gained a few places from where he started in 4th position, I believe, maybe 3rd. But anyway, there's an issue there, a slow moving car. It's Jake Hughes, who was running well in this race, but he is the first retirement of the race and of the season. Unfortunate for Jake Hughes and the Van Amersfoort team. He won't take any further part in this one. A mechanical failure there, it would seem. He watches the world go by, and will not be particularly satisfied with the result of this race. Back on board with us then, and we're just, holding our pace basically. not trying to push the limits too much and just trying to stay focused, minimize mistakes, and just look after the tires. But oh, that's a slide. That's a big moment, and that might be, well, we just avoid collision with the wall there, but that's going to cost us a whole bunch of time. We back ourselves out of that situation, and now we watch a whole host of cars go by. There goes Felipe Drugovich, and oh, goodness me, we go for the lunge back down the inside almost instantly, but that's not what we needed. Roinasani now getting involved alongside us as we run a side by side, and we should be able to hold off Roinasani here. His soft tires have pretty much seen their best at this point. He's not really... Oh, that's another moment there on the exit. We managed to catch it this time, which is very fortunate. There's not as much room for error there as we did that same big swing to the inside we did before. But anyway, we lose out to Roinasani in the end, and he takes P12 now. So with the retirements and with us now struggling for grip, Roinasani is making his way towards the points. Still a way away yet. Meanwhile, Logan Sargent is lacking a bit of pace at this phase of the race. He's now got Teo Porcher all over the back of him. Let's see if Porcher is able to make the move. He's right tucked down under the rear wing of the Carlin there, and Teo Porcher might be looking to make the move here down the inside towards turn 1. Teo Porcher goes for the move side by side with Logan Sargent all the way into the braking zone. Logan not giving it up around the outside. They're still going to keep this fight going through turns 2 and 3, but I think Sargent has to give it up there. Teo Porcher gets the move done, and I think he's even stolen the DRS as well, so no opportunity to fight back for Sargent. Porcher throws the block, but Sargent's not close enough to do anything about him, and Porcher takes second position. Meanwhile, back on board with us, we need to fight our way back into the points. So here we go then, straight away, getting a move on, and we make the move on
Great manoeuvre. You made it look so easy.
on Roinasani, and that moves us up one position into P12. I believe it's the top 8 scoring points in this race, so we do need to pass a number of cars if we want to get back there, and we don't have a lot of time left. We're more than halfway through the race now as Roinasani comes in for a pit stop. He's had enough of those soft compound tyres. They didn't really do what he wanted them to, and just couldn't take advantage of the extra grip in the DRS train. So yeah, unfortunately for Roinasani, that strategy is not going to work out for him. That said, if there is a safety car, he will have fresher hard compound tyres than everyone else, so it still could work out for him if there's a safety car later in the race. But we'll see as we continue pushing on. That is Felipe Drugovich right in front of us, and not able to make a move on Drugovich yet. Drugovich himself has good pace and is pushing along the group ahead, so yeah, it might be a bit difficult to pass. We'll go for the move down the inside though, and we almost drill the back of Ollie Caldwell there, as he was quite slow. Back on board with Drugovich, and he has a run back at us around the outside of the left-handers there, but he's not able to hold it there, and he just decides to slot in behind. Probably a wise choice there. Now we get through on Ollie Caldwell. Easy move there down into the first corner. He had a bit more clean air in front of him, so that was not as difficult to measure that one. It's quite hard to overtake one car when there's another immediately in front. The risk of going for the move and then making contact with the car in front can be quite high in certain heavier braking zones. But anyway, we've made our way past our teammate. He's right under our rear wing now. He didn't make that overtake too difficult though, and we are edging our way closer to the points. Sato was running P9. We have now taken that position, so any issues for the point scorer is the top 8, and we will be right there to take advantage. Hopefully Sato can follow us through with some of these overtakes. But at the moment, we have a couple of Red Bull liveried cars in front of us. We have Jane Deruvala and Ayumu Iwasa. So let's see if we can get past the pair of them before the end of the race, and that should see us grab a handful of points. So here we go then, down the inside of Jay and Arugula, and that is job done on the Indian driver. We move ourselves up one position and into the points now, into the top 8. So that is good progress. Here's a replay of that move on Jay and Arugula. Got that one done nice and easy, and you know, we're keeping things a lot more controlled now. The confidence is building a lot more, and you know, I feel like I can actually push the limits a little bit more now. We also get down the inside of Ayumu Iwasa immediately after that, and with those 2 overtakes, we are now scoring points in the multiple. We continue to push down the inside, a double move there. We tried a double move, it didn't quite work for us, and we actually bail out of the left-hander there. We'll let Callan Williams go, but we did get past Dennis Hauger, so that's 3 Red Bull liveried cars all in a line there, and now Callan Williams is up next. A late switch to the inside as we was just slightly deep into turn 1. Callan Williams trying to fight back around the outside. This time we will keep the car on the road as we keep the fight going with Callan Williams. We get the move done. Now Dennis Hauger having a look at the Trident, but I don't think he was quite on the run, and he didn't quite get a run good enough to get past Callan Williams, which works well for us, and we can leave those 2 to fight away behind for a moment as we continue to look forwards and continue to gain ground in this race. Another move to the inside now, and that is Amaury Cordeal in the Van Amersfoort car, and we should be able to get the move done potentially into turn 4. We struggled a bit through turns 2 and 3 there, but we are still close enough with the DRS to make the move down the inside, and that is job done on Amaury Cordeal.
We expect you'll be noticing a bit of grip loss in the tyres around now, so just be careful.
And he's still running in the top 5, so a solid race from the young Belgian. And now we are more focusing our attentions on the podium. We've got Logan Sargent.
Mate, this is the final lap of the race. Final lap.
Logan Sargent right in front of us.
Is 3.9 seconds.
We make the move to the outside of Logan Sargent. On the brakes a bit early there. Sargent still on the inside fighting away, so we couldn't quite get the move done there at the first corner. And with a bit of a bad exit there, I'm not sure if we'll be close enough at turn 4, so we may need to find another opportunity to overtake Logan Sargent if we want to get on that podium here in the first race of the season. We flow the car through turn 4 nicely enough, and now we switch our attention later in the lap, and as we head towards the final sector, our best opportunity will be on the brakes into the final corner. We've left a bit of a gap there to Sargent so he can run through these corners without the effect of the dirty air, and that's helped us really close up on the exit as we now are in the slipstream. We're probably just about close enough to go for the move on Sargent if we can make the lunge to the inside or the outside. We briefly looked, but to the inside we go, and we do manage to get the move done on Sargent. Very deep on the brakes here. We missed the apex by a mile, but Sargent gave us the room. He actually had a bit of a moment of his own on the exit. Liam Lawson has already won the race. He takes the first victory of the season. A great job, Liam Lawson. And we're going to cross the line to take P3.
Yes, mate, I'll take that. Well done. We're really happy with the podium down here, so well done. Yes.
So another fantastic victory for Carlin today. Davide, what do you think made the difference here?
I think they kept a cool head. That's why they won today. Smooth, steady, everything bad that happened to them, they handled it calmly and professionally. That's what let them focus on getting the best out everything else. The car, the strategy, they managed to keep out of trouble the whole way around.
And there you have it, today's winners. Having raised some of the biggest names in F1 to date, Carlin have once again shown their expertise when it comes to recruiting new talent. No doubt today's winners have a bright future ahead of them. They certainly deserve it after today's performance.
So it is Liam Lawson who wins the first race of the season. Great drive by him. Teo Porcher was not far off. He takes second position, and after the spin, we recover to third.
After this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. Liam Lawson is our new championship leader after a great result. Now then, Davide Valsecchi, who would you say was your driver of the day?
I have to give it to Liam Lawson. One of the best things about Formula 2 is watching these young drivers grow and mature, and it feels like his career took a big step forward today.
And now a look at the team standings. Carlin moved to the top of the table. After all this drama, you would be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.
So that brings an end to the sprint race here in Bahrain. Still got the feature race to come. But anyway, as always, we'll have a quick run through the finishing order. Of course, we know it was Liam Lawson who took the victory ahead of Teo Porcher, ahead of myself, Logan Sargent in 4th position, ahead of Amaury Cordial. Good start to the season for him. And then our fellow Australian driver Callan Williams, P6. 7th place went the way of Dennis Hauger with Ayumu Iwasa taking the final point. Our teammate Marino Sato just missed out. He was in P10, as did Jay Darubala in P9. Just missing out on the points. We also get a bonus point for the fastest lap. So in net terms, with the fastest lap point and the 2 points for pole, we move up to 2nd in the standings despite finishing 3rd in the race, outscoring Teo Porcher there. So it shows already early in the season that those little bonus points here and there can add up. But anyway, aside from that, we should have won that race, to be honest. Made that mistake, had that spin, and it was always going to be very difficult to recover from there. But overall, aside from that mistake, the consistency definitely improved throughout the race. So there was definitely a certain period at the start where I was sort of still relearning the game a bit, but yeah, heading into the big race, the feature race later, we'll be starting from pole. So we've already got that advantage. If we can get another good start, get a clean run down to the first corner, we'll be most likely starting on the soft compound tires, which I was much more comfortable on, and I should be already up to speed by the time we get onto the hards later in the race. So I'm looking forward to the feature race. I think we can have a really good run there, but we'll see how it all plays out. This one, we made the best of a bad situation after we spun. We were able to recover all the way up to 3rd, so I can't complain too much. That is still a very decent result, and stacks a whole bunch of points next to our name. On to the feature race.
Hello and welcome from the Bahrain International Circuit here in Sakhir. Down on the grid, the engineers are making their last checks, and today's race will be underway shortly. Plenty of opportunities around the 3.36 miles of the Bahrain International Circuit for these young F2 drivers to show what they can do. The best passing opportunity right up there at turn 1, and we should see plenty of action there. But there's another not long after at turn 4. There are 9 right-handers and 6 left-handers, and the possibility that we could see some flat spots at the tightest of those left-handers, that's turn 10. Let's look at the grid order for today's race while the cars make their final preparations. A fantastic effort from Jack Doohan yesterday puts him on pole position, and it's Ayumu Iwasa in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Cordial, Hauger, Jay Darubala, and Lawson. Hughes, Williams, Porcher, Logan Sargent, Calderon, Phipps, Marino Sato, Felipe Drugovic, and Armstrong, Caldwell, Vachon, Clement Novalak, Fittipaldi, Vesti, Boschon, and Roy Nissany completes the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's get down to the track. Alongside me today, I'm delighted to welcome back to the commentary box the 2012 GP2 champion, Davide Valsecchi. There looks to be a challenging race ahead of the drivers today, Davide. With that in mind, what are you looking out for today?
Well, Alex, I want to see how the drivers at the back of the grid are going to roll up. They'll need to make an impact in the early stages, and they're probably hoping for a bit of luck at the start. We may see some bold maneuvers out there today.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
I will not let you down. So, strategy-wise, for the feature race, we have two options available, softs to hards or two softs to hards. We're just going to go with the traditional one-stop. I don't think the two-stop is going to work. In terms of starting tyres for the other drivers, once again, Roy Nassani is the only one going in a different direction. He's starting on the hards and transitioning to the softs later in the race. So, once again, we can't straight onto the end of the formation lap, and now as we try and get some heat into the tyres.
Okay, incredible parking there, nice one. That's going to give you the edge if you can get a good launch as the race starts.
I did pay specific attention in the first race start to get as much heat into the tyres as possible on the formation lap. I didn't do quite as good of a job of it here, but we'll see how it goes. We've got the 5 red lights and away we go for the Bahrain feature race, and it seems like we got away pretty cleanly. We've got a massive jump on the group behind, so once again it is a great start for us here in Bahrain, and we're going to lead the way into turn 1 as we can now just be nice and smooth. We've got already a significant buffer to the group behind, who are all squabbling away. Look like they were thinking about going 3 wide. They've seemed to have sorted it out by now, but that is once again a perfect start to this race, so we should just be able to push on with this one with ease if we can maintain a good pace in the opening stint. But yeah, that is exactly how we wanted to get this one underway, and oh, a little bit of a moment there, so that's just the tyres not quite being up to temperature yet. As I mentioned, I didn't do quite as good of a job on the formation lap getting these tyres up to running temperature, and now we eventually settle into a better rhythm. So we move on then. We're now at the end of lap number 5, so a fair chunk of the distance into this race, and we are showing a good pace. But I actually noticed something at this time, which is that the car was actually braking itself. I didn't actually notice it to begin with, but I guess as the confidence kind of grew, I started trying to brake later, and the game wouldn't let me. I've got the auto brake assist off. I haven't used that since F1 2018.
Gap to your teammate behind is 9.0 seconds.
Back when I was first learning the F1 games, but for some reason it was still active. But anyway, it took me a minute to sort of work out what was going on, but eventually I worked out if you just flick it on and then off again, it will sort the issue, and I can once again brake exactly where I want to. But that was a weird little technical glitch, let's call it. So yeah, I'm not sure why that was happening. That's a new one. But anyway, we continue to push on all the way to the pit window. It was a fairly boring first stint for us, not a lot happening. But yeah, we make our way into the pits. We
okay, off we go, back into the race.
Equipped with the next set of tyres. This is of course the hard tyres. Engineer, can you please just you talk way too much, Kai. Anyway, out of pit lane on the hard tyres, bit of understeer at pit exit as always. Very tricky to actually get that turned into that apex coming out of pit lane, because it's basically right beside you as you head into the first corner. But anyway, we race our way now down towards turn 4, and we'll see if we can start to make some more forward progress in this race.
19th place.
But I mean, everyone else has to make their stops still, and as they do so, that will elevate us further up the grid, further up the order, and already with the first group of pit stops being made, including Ayumu Iwasa, who was running in second position, we reclaim a bunch of those positions up into P15, and as the race goes on, we'll gain more and more places up into the top 5 now, with the next lot of pit stops, and then in not too much longer, the rest of them in due course will make their stops. We've had all clean air. I was worried a little bit about traffic, but in the end it wasn't an issue.
At the moment, just focus on the driving.
And yeah, we do eventually reclaim the lead, and you know, we've sort of stabilized our lead at 5 seconds, give or take a second. It does fluctuate, but throughout the whole first end of the first stint and this start of the second stint, with Ayumu Iwasa behind us, he has had a solid start to this stint, has started cutting into that margin a bit, though. He is on the soft tyres once again, which is interesting, as our teammate Marino Sato retires from the race. He was on target to potentially score points in this one.
Safety car is out. Safety car is out. We need to form up at reduced pace. Keep a close eye on that delta time. Make sure to keep it positive.
And now we have a safety car due to that. As we look back, everyone else behind us is heading into the pit lane. So for them it was quite a short stint on the second set of softs. Ayumu Iwasa did actually really catch us in that stint, but now he's going on to the hards for the rest of the race. There will be fresher hard tyres than ours, so he will have that going for him. Although
okay, Marino's out of the race.
Worth mentioning,
the safety car. You're leading, so don't pass it. Stay behind the safety car.
As we catch the safety car, worth mentioning that not everyone went for that two sets of softs strategy. As I mentioned, Rowan Asani went in the opposite direction on the start and started on the hards, so this safety car might work for him. And the other one worth mentioning is Jake Hughes did not stop. He was already on the hard tyres doing a one-stop softs to hards, the same as us. So that has really worked in his favour, and he's been able to gain a whole bunch of track position up into second position for Jake Hughes by just taking the traditional strategy, making one less pit stop, and when the time has come, that has converted into great track position. Here's Rowan Asani coming into pit lane for a new set of tyres. He's going from the hards he started on onto softs to finish the race. He was held in pit lane a bit there, lost 1 or 2 places, and okay, that's definitely unsafe release. Maybe he lost a 3rd place there, so that's unfortunate for Rowan Asani. That's put him down into 12th position, losing those few places, and that's a shame, because yeah, if not, he would be in the points if he wasn't held in the pit lane there. So yeah, the Rowan Asani, unfortunately again, his strategy didn't work out in the first race, and it doesn't seem to be working so well in this one. That said, he has gone from last to 12th in this race, so he has gained massively, and he is on the grippier tyres to finish this one off. Other drivers worth noticing: Ralph Boschung has only gone soft, so he'll need to stop again. He hasn't used the hard compound tyres yet. And Jake Hughes, the only other outlier, as I've already mentioned, he's now running in second position. So a few different strategies playing out at the moment. So Nasani, Boschung and Hughes are the ones to watch towards the end of this race, as their differentiating strategies will play out. Boschung, I don't know what Campos are doing there with Ralph Boschung's strategy. You need to take the safety car in that opportunity to pit, but they decided not to do that down at Campos. So yeah, I'm not sure. He's going to need to make another stop, and it's going to have to be under green flag conditions, unfortunately for Ralph Boschung. But he is up in the points positions for now.
Safety car is in this lap. Safety car in this lap. You'll be controlling the pace on the restart. Keep it steady until the safety cars reach the pit lane.
So we lead the way now, and meanwhile behind, there's Logan Sargent going quite slowly on the safety car. He's got a big gap in front of him, so I don't know what he's doing there. The stewards may have a look at that one. But anyway, we put the power down out of the final corner, and we get a great restart. We absolutely caught Jake Hughes napping there, and that has given us a huge opportunity. A bit of a weave down towards the first corner to get some more heat into these tyres. I can tell in those last few corners before winding up for the restart that they were not quite up to temperature, so we do need to try and get these tyres going again. But we've had a perfect restart, and Jake Hughes himself did manage to hold off a Yumu Iwasa, who is on newer tyres. Meanwhile, behind, another mechanical failure, and this one is for Logan Sargent, so maybe that had something to do with as to why he was dropping back on the safety car restart. I'm not sure, but Logan Sargent will not take any further part in this one, and he drops out of the race. So as we continue to push on then, we do manage to escape Jake Hughes.
Okay, mate, final lap. Keep your concentration and let's bring it
You didn't
home.
have the pace to keep up. That said, Jake Hughes absolutely drove away from a Yumu Iwasa and the rest of the field on older hard compound tyres, so he's not doing a bad job at all, is Jake Hughes for Van Amersfoort, and he will be rewarded with a second place finish in this race, because he's done a very, very good job there. Meanwhile, behind, going on to the final lap, Ralph Boschung not making his pit stop, and he's still on the soft tyres, but he's backing off. In fact, that whole group of cars were backing off. He almost ploughed into the back of the Red Bull livery car there. I think that was Dennis Hauger in front of him, and Liam Lawson ahead. And look in the top left, Liam Lawson has been declared the race winner. We're not even crossed the line yet in first place. What is going on at the end of this race? This is a weird situation. I don't know if we've actually won this race or not, but anyway, we're doing the weave in celebration as we now cross the line, and it will be first place for us.
Oh, superb driving. That is the race win, my friend. Well done.
I don't know what that graphic was about, but we take first place. Enzo Fittipaldi gets the driver of the day. That was weird.
So Virtuosi have won it, and what a great race it was. Tell me, Davide, what was the key to this success?
I think this race was won thanks to the tire management. You have to remember, it's not just about going as fast as you can. It's about consistency. It's about maintaining your speed over an entire race distance. So being able to keep the lap time competitive while still respecting the tires, that's where they won today.
And here are our podium drivers today. After that excellent race, they've excelled here as they so often do, and it's a well-deserved victory. Virtuosi then are on top today.
So that is race victory for us here in Bahrain, and it is a Van Amersfoort double podium with Jake Hughes in second, Strategy getting him there, and Amari Cordeal getting on the podium as well.
And now let's take a look at the drivers' standings. Jack Doohan takes the lead of the Drivers' Championship. And now, Davide Valsecchi, let me ask you, who is your driver of the day?
Lots of driver impressed me today, Alex. But if I have to say one that impressed me most, it's Jack Doohan.
And here's how things are shaping up in the Teams' Championship. That's the end of today's race. Thank you for joining us, and I'm sure you'll agree it was a great race and sets us up nicely for the next installment in a few weeks' time. Take care. From Davide and I, it's goodbye.
Well, that brings an end to the round in Bahrain. We take the championship lead in drivers and not in constructors, unfortunately, with Marino Sato being a little unlucky in this round. But anyway, in terms of the race results for this one, it was victory for us ahead of Jake Hughes and Mari Cordeal, followed by Ayumu Iwasa. Then it was Jane Deruvula, Dennis Hauger, then Liam Lawson ahead of Ralph Boschum, P8. He didn't get disqualified, despite the fact he didn't use the hard compound tyres, so interesting there. The stewards weren't paying attention. Ninth place goes the way of Teo Porcher with Enzo Fittipaldi in P10. So that is how it all wrapped up at the end of the race. Looking championship wise then, we have a 16-point lead over Amari Cordeal, Jake Hughes 17 points behind, and then Liam Lawson next 19 points behind, so all relatively close between those three. We have a bit of a chunk of a lead though. Constructors Championship wise, Van Amersfoort lead the way. We sit just 2 points behind them though, so it is all very close. But that is all for this one, so I will say thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. Feel free to give us some feedback in the comments, it is always very helpful. Other than that, I will see you next time. Goodbye.